And I gotta say, is over these last 2.5 years that we've owned a boat, I think this is the hardest challenge that we've had. Yep, that's our boat, the Endless Summer. And yes, the keel is off again. To catch you up, we sailed to the sandblast and discovered our boat was still leaking, even after we had the keel rebedded.
It's all coming through that. And if you see air, then there will be water. And that bubble keeps filling up with air.
The leak seems to be coming from the keel again, but the problem is we don't see any obvious signs of water entry in the keel. And due to the labyrinth of bilge tunnels and stringers between the layers of the hull, we can't pinpoint where the water is coming from. So now we are going to pull the boat out of the water again and grind some of the paint off the keel and seam to get a better look. So we have hauled out again, and they sanded down the keel seam here. And we kind of just looked around, did some, a little bit of kind of testing and protruding. We really don't see much in the way of major gaps. We definitely see, a seam back here, and then there's a gap here. It looks like there's definitely a hole there. Doesn't quite line up with the amount of water that we've seen coming in, though. Seems like we had a lot more water coming in than what these small cracks lead us to believe. And the cracks seem to be at the back of the keel, not the front of the keel where we actually see the water. Since the boatyard was doubting the water entry was from the keel, they had a marine surveyor come out to look for other possible sources. They used an ultrasound leak detector to check all the ports and hatches, and a moisture meter to check the hull.
Yes, it is normal. This is not.
Oh, back there too. They also did some thermal imaging, which again showed signs of water in the aft area of the keel. They also ruled out some other possibilities, such as the bow thruster and anchor locker. Okay, got an update. We've had, I think, 5 days now of really troubleshooting this leak. Well, we do think we still need to rebed the keel because it wasn't done properly. We want to rule out all other possible sources of the leak. And I gotta say, is over these last 2.5 years that we've owned a boat, I think this is the hardest challenge that we've had. We're just really struggling to figure this out. I'm an engineer. I was an engineer in my career, dealt a lot with failure analysis, and it feels like with an engineering background and my engineering experience, this shouldn't be that hard. I felt a little bit better when somebody else replied to my Facebook post about the problem, that they spent months chasing a leak, and it was just in such a tiny little place. And they fixed things and that wasn't it, and fixed more things and that wasn't it. The stress is I'm not sure, if the yard is going to stand behind their work. I think it's very clear that when the yard rebedded the keel, that it wasn't done properly. Too much 5200 came out. They didn't properly clean the bolt when the oil came out while they were setting the hull down. And other boat professionals look at the video of what happened, and these are the things they're saying.
With the additional tests not turning up any new theories for the leak, it was time to take the keel off.
And they're starting to chop the keel off. You can already see just kind of a huge gap here. This is the aft of the keel. And this is where the last keel bolt sits, so I marked them all with Sharpie. Actually kind of looks misaligned here. Like it juts out a little bit further. So next they're gonna put it on the slings and finish taking off the keel. Okay, they put the boat back in the slings. Not entirely sure what the plan is. Okay, so I think they're going to take that big cement block and this big cement block. Good thing they have lots of forklifts. And then set the hull down on probably wood placed on the cement blocks, I guess. Okay, please don't hit my boat. Oh. Should have straightened the rudder out. Okay. Yeah, just raise the boat a little. So the keel is off, the bolts are all dry, and now we're gonna set the boat down on these blocks in front of the keel. And now we're removing all the rest of the 5200, cleaning the rust off the aft bolts. There was some oil on the forward bolt. Somebody came out with a new product called D-Bond for removing 5200. And these guys are putting blocks under the boat. We're gonna rest it on these cinder blocks topped with wood.
Once we got the keel off, we could see the real problems. The two aft bolts were rusted and a channel had carved through the iron keel surface, perfect for letting water seep in.
And this is what the inside of our boat looks like. That light is daylight. Look who's back.
Back doing work on the boat.
Are you? You look like you're more supervising.
Yeah, well, we're kind of in the middle of stuff, so
Alright.
we're.
So what happened to the keel here?
So they took off the keel, as you know, and instead of the last time, which we just left it regular metal, this time we decided to put primer over the metal. And this is kind of a pre-coat. We're also going to have a primer, a second primer that will go on top of this. This will get sand, this will be scratched up. And we're going to have another primer that's specifically designed to adhere to the Sikaflex that we're putting on. And so hopefully we'll have a much better seal. We're also going to put some rubber dams in here, so it'll keep the boat a little bit off the keel surface, which will let the silicon, the Sikaflex, cure underneath and not get squeezed all the way out, which is what we thought happened last time. What they're going to do is, you see this will get filled in with fiberglass. I don't know if they'll do this in fiberglass. I can put some Bontex on that to put it, Marine Tex to fill this in. And then they're gonna put glass around here. Plus you're gonna have a big mountain of Sika here.
We also discovered the 2 aft bolts were loose.
This is turning.
Is this the other one turn?
Yeah, it's just it's better to take out, put Loctite, and then screw it in.
Oh, just put Loctite in?
Yeah.
That one doesn't turn.
Yeah, this one doesn't turn.
So what's going on with the hull side?
Okay, so they've cleaned up as much as they can, but in order to make it flat, what they've done is they've coated it with epoxy paste underneath all the way, and they're going to sand this down to create a nice flat area. But we still have this old bonding material that they put in that it didn't work that well. So what we're going to have them do is fill this in, but then cover it up with a couple layers of glass. And once they sand this, they're also going to put fiberglass on the bottom, so we'll have a nice clean surface on the top part of the boat. And then we're going to put primer, the special primer that we have to for the adherence of the Sikaflex.
In the meantime, before they do all this, I'm going to put my new endoscope camera up some of these holes to see if I see any signs of cracks.
So you're going to give the boat a colonoscopy? I mean, it is 52 in boat years.
Putting the camera in the bolt holes revealed some large cracks in the forward bolt hole and the aft bolt holes through an area that is filled with polyester putty. So now we have a solid theory for how the water came into the boat and out of the forward limber hole.
So these are the aft bolt holes that I have plugged right now. So what I'm thinking is that the area those go through are filled with polyester putty, and clearly it has cracks in it, and polyester putty is not meant to be solid through and through like epoxy or fiberglass. So what I think, this duct back here, it's a channel, it's an empty hollow channel that bisects that area with the polyester putty. So I think the water probably went through that area with polyester putty, which is behind this wall, and then through kind of this upper channel, came through this part of the channel, and then came in behind this wall, which is hollow. You can see the water in the video, kind of water falling over the wall. I think it came through this channel and then went over the wall, and then it came out the limber hole down here. So that's our theory on how the water came out here, and the pitching of the boat just drove the water this way.
Then we got some more bad news, that the aft bolts weren't only rusted, but they showed some corrosion.
This
What is that?
is corrosion.
It's corrosion in the bolt?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Was that inside the...
Inside to the keel, not inside to the bilge. That part is inside to the bilge.
So this is
This is the top,
this one's the top?
Yeah.
And that's the...
the bottom.
Oh, that's bad. How do we have to get new bolts?
You can see how it's pitted like that.
Now is the time for change.
Yeah.
Because
Sorry,
you have-
cut it out.
Yeah.
All right, but
Because-
how quickly can we get this?
Okay, pulled up the backing plate for the bolts. This is for the 2 aft bolts. Also just a lot of kind of rust residue, I think, from the bolts back here. That 5200 or 4200 that was put on here is not very evenly applied either.
Ta-da!
All right.
Only took me about 45 minutes to get this one little plate up.
So we got all 3 bolt plates up there. We still got one left here.
That's,
Yeah, we're finding that like
all of them are...
half of the hole or 3/4 of the hole here and down there are have 40. We think it's 4200 sealant around them
it's
because that's what they
4200.
put under these bolt plates was 4200 sealant.
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't completely. The sealant isn't completely going around the holes, which is a little disturbing. The plate on the stern came up right up right away. I just had
This is where we
I
think.
just kind of pulled it up. Trying to measure the hull thickness right here too. 33, 34 millimeters. So yeah, it's over an inch thick. But yeah, close to 1.5 inches. It's pretty good. Okay, so the other work today was they prepped the area inside. Oh, there's a crack there. Prep the area inside the hull. Keep this over. Might be good to get a piece of wood so we don't get bugs or animals coming up through our floor. Okay, I was able to block the holes. Sorry, Rosie, I used your cat toys.
So now we wait for the new bolts. It takes at least a week to get anything in Panama, even with rush shipping.